Welcome back to We're Reading Virtual Story Time for May 3rd, 2021. This week we're going to talk about flowers. We're going to make flower prints with paper rolls, and we're going to read Pinkalicious and the Flower Fairy. Enjoy! Pinkalicious and the Flower Fairy by Victoria Carr. I want a flower fairy to visit my garden, I said to my brother Peter. I want a worm to visit my garden, Peter said. Yuck, I said. I sprinkled seeds over our gardens. Flower fairies love pink flowers, I said. Worms love mud, Peter said. I raked and watered my garden. Vroom, yelled Peter. I worked hard on my garden. After 2 weeks, my seeds sprouted. There were little leaves but no flowers. The next day it rained and rained. It rained for weeks. When the sun finally came out, I ran outside to see my garden. Now all my plants will bloom. There was lots of green. Where's all the pink, I wondered. Zoom, Peter said. He drove his truck through his garden. He made roads with his shovel. Calling all worms, he said. Take a ride on my racetrack. I had an idea. I needed to show my flowers how to grow. I made tissue paper flowers and put them in my garden. Calling all flowers, I said. Bloom like these paper flowers. I waited all day, but nothing happened. How would I ever see a flower fairy without any real flowers? I was too sad to garden. The next day, Peter yelled, Guess what I saw? Hint, it was pink. A worm, I groaned. No, Peter said. A flower fairy. No, you didn't. Did you? I gasped. A pink flower fairy? Why didn't she visit me? I said. My garden is better, Peter said proudly. I looked at his garden and looked at mine. Peter was right. I had to do something. I'm going to pinkify my garden, I told Peter. Then the fairy will want to visit me. Molly came over to help. We strung sparkly pink lights and shiny pink streamers. We added a pink parasol and set out pink fairy cakes. My garden was a pink wonderland. I put on music and Molly and I danced like fairies. It was very loud, very fun, and very pink. Still the fairy didn't come. All we saw was a wiggly pink worm. My mom looked out the door. It's time to clean up, she said. We began packing my pink belongings. Soon my garden was plain again. It was time for Molly to go home. We didn't see a fairy, I said. Molly gave me a hug. Don't be sad, she said. I sat down in the grass. A big weed tickled my foot. I pulled it out. Behind it was a pink flower. I pulled out more weeds. I couldn't believe it. My garden was beautiful. There were flowers hidden among the weeds all along. I smelled a fragrant pink flower. Hello, said a little voice. I was nose to nose with a fairy. She was pink and shimmery. She had flower petal wings. I'm very glad you cleaned up your garden, she said. Now I have room to fly. Your garden is pink perfection, said the fairy. There's just one thing that will make it better. I knew exactly what that was. Fairy magic, I cheered. The fairy fluttered her wings. Sparkles rained down. More flowers grew and bloomed, making a beautiful arch. Wow, Peter and I said. It was flower-tastic. The end. We're going to make our Mayflowers with a cardboard roll. This is from a roll of toilet paper. You can also use paper towels. I suggest cutting the paper towel roll into half or even thirds because you don't want them too long, just so you have more control. So you'll need a cardboard roll, scissors, paper. I just made a little meadow on the computer, so I I have a green crayon to draw on stems later. You'll need paint. I have teal, magenta, and purple. Paintbrushes, I have 3. Purple, magenta, and teal. And then you'll need little yellow circles. These are made out of foam. I used the die cutter to cut them. I'm gonna see if I can fit 5 on this. You might only fit a few, you might fit more. But those are gonna be the centers of our flowers. So I'm just gonna scooch those out of the way. And then you're gonna need some glue to stick them on. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do, I've already put my paint out, is cut this to make a flower. And what we do is take our scissors and just cut as even as you can, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to cut each of those in half again. So 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then we're going to take it and we're going to bend them up. Try to do them, make sure they're all about the same level. They can be a little off because we're going to use our fingers to push them down. And pull them down, pull it down. Now this is in the way, so I'm just going to tear that a little bit and then cut it off down in there so that it's not doing anything weird. In my photo, or my picture, I mean. So see how it already kind of looks like a flower? So now looking at this, I'm not going to fit more than maybe 3 or 4 on here. What you're gonna do is use the paintbrush to paint on the little rectangles. These will be your petals. So we got some teal. There's a very good chance you're going to paint on yourself. You see I went over on some of these. I'm just going to cover it with a little bit of blue, teal. But that's okay. Flowers aren't perfect. They're prettier when they're more imperfect, actually. And I might switch these colors up next time. I'm going to pick a place on the paper to put it. I'm going to put it up here. I'm just going to lay it down, and then I'm going to press each of the petals down so that we print the paint onto it. That's why it doesn't matter if they're not exact the same size, because we're going to press them down. And lift it up, and there's our flower. We have a little teal missing, so we can fill that in. Or you might just want to leave it because it kind of looks cool that way too. So there we go, there's one flower. And this one I'm going to make more magenta than teal, so I'm going to switch it up. Some of the colors might blend and make different colors. Just painting all over. You don't have to make them different colors. You can make them all the same. You can make one color and one the next. However you want to do it. Just doing it kind of however it goes. No real wrong way to do this. Okay, so I'm picking another spot. I'm going to do it a little lower. press down on each of the petals again. And we got a fingerprint, that's okay. And lift it up, and that one turned out a little stronger. A little purple missing there. And again, you don't have to fill it in, it's just something that I'm doing. And we'll do it one more time, because it looks like we'll fit 3 in there. We're making our Mayflowers. Okay, I'm going to put that one up here. And last time, pressing down. Getting this on me. I do have a paper towel a little bit off camera here. Let's see how that one is. That one turned out best of all. There we go. I'll put that aside, get my little paper towel out. Now what I want to do is I'm going to give them all stems. So I'm just going to give it a stem, maybe a little leaf. This one's going to go down into the bottom, and this one's going to go right here. I'll make sure if your paper's still wet like mine, you don't rub your hand up against it, or else that will be really messy. So we have that. Give this one 2 leaves. Again, this is just for fun, so have lots of paper. You don't have to have a printed paper like mine. I did put it in so you could print it if you want. And if you got a Craft-to-Go kit, you can definitely use that. It's on cardstock. Now I'm just going to put a little glue on there. Well, a lot. I put too much again. I don't even know why I say that every time it's too much. And 2. A little goopy, but that's okay. It'll dry. And 3. Of course, it'll take longer to dry because of it being goopy. I don't know if I can even get in there. Yeah. Okay, so that's pretty much it. And I have 2 left over, so I could do another painting if I wanted to. It's not necessary. You can do as many of these as you want, and you can even cut the cardboard up so that it has different sized petals, so you don't have to do 8 petals like I did. You can do 6 or 2 or 4, you know, whatever you want. Make them really tiny, and that's it.